out what North Korea's leader wants to do is test a hydrogen bomb over the Pacific Ocean. Now, that could disturb a lot of electronics when that kind of thing happens. So unless that explosion is tested and telegraphed to people first, there's a distinct possibility that anyone within even miles of that test, well, their electronics could go down, which includes planes that could go down, which hastens the need to at least get a heads up. This could be very provocative, and this itself could be an act of war, according to many. The read right now from former USS Cole Commander Kurt Lippold, who joins us on the phone. Commander, I mean, obviously, Kim Jong-un would have to let people know about this in advance. Unlike some of these other launches, this is something that could endanger planes and those traveling in and around the area. But he doesn't have a history of doing that. What do you think?
Well, no, I think what we're seeing is that gradual buildup where, in fact, President Trump is putting the world on notice that this is the end of the road, that while diplomatic options still exist in squeezing him with the executive order in the financial and other industries where if you do business with the Hermit Kingdom, you don't do business with the United States and other countries and their penalties, Kim Jong-un, while he should give the world a heads up if he were to detonate that type of a weapon in the atmosphere or even on the ocean, clearly we are not going to have any indication that he will do that. And as you mentioned, while many may consider it an act of war, I think the repercussions of doing that will speak very clearly. And then China is going to be on notice that they are going to need to do what many have advocated, including myself, for months now, which is China is going to have to engage to denuclearize that country.
But I'm wondering if the message they're getting from this rogue state is that they don't care what China thinks, and they're not intimidated by China threatening to freeze all financial ties here. And I'm wondering if this has gone a little too far here, even for the Chinese, that within hours of that agreement, Kim Jong-un is doing this, is threatening this. He obviously doesn't care.
What he threatens and what he does, Neil, I think, as usual, will be two different things. If he carries through and does it, then clearly he is breaking a benchmark as far as that test goes. And at that point, I think even Russia and China are going to say, we're having nothing to do with this guy, and they're going to stop breaking the sanctions that the United Nations passed the other day.
But what else would the world do in that event, Commander? I just want to be clear. I mean, because that is, to your point, very different than other these prior launchings and all. This would be a very provocative act. As I said, some have said a war act, but they would not be able to take that in stride. The Chinese particularly, maybe even the Russians, to your point. What did they do? Just join the growing list of sanctioned countries, or what?
I think you would see swift and immediate condemnation and action by the world community, whether it is through the UN or just a coalition that is built in coordination with China and Russia, that we would completely isolate that nation from anything going in and out. It will be terrible in that the people of North Korea will suffer, but we have to make it clear to the Kim Jong-un regime, if you conduct that test, you probably will not be able to remain in power. Up until this point, that has always been a viable option for us, but you conduct this test, that goes a step further than anything the world is willing to tolerate. Detonating a nuclear weapon is an order of magnitude offense against the world by doing that. And I think at that point, whatever sympathy he may have from the world would disappear and be gone.
All bets would certainly be off. Kirk Lippold, Commander, thank you.